In February 1959, Igor Dyatlov led a team of 9 hikers into the Russian wilderness. These were Grade 2 certified mountaineers, a designation earned through hundreds of miles of documented high-altitude treks in sub-zero conditions. Their route took them deep into the Ural Mountains, toward Otorten Mountain, a region known for its isolation and unpredictable danger. The environment they entered was a baseline of extremes: heavy snowfall, high-velocity winds, and temperatures that routinely dropped below -30 degrees. A team with this much experience operates on a foundation of survival protocols. For them to perish in the mountains, they had to encounter a scenario that rendered those lifelong instincts completely useless. On February 1st, the group pitched their tent on an exposed slope. That night, something occurred that forced all 9 hikers to abandon their only shelter. They didn't use the entrance. They slashed their way out through the side of the tent from the inside. They fled into the darkness of a blizzard. Many were barefoot or wearing only their underwear, charging directly into the freezing night. When rescue teams found the bodies days later, the injuries defied standard logic. Several hikers had sustained massive internal trauma, crushed skulls and shattered ribs, yet their skin remained entirely unbroken. Forensic analysis added layers of the inexplicable to the autopsies. One victim was missing her tongue, another had no eyes, and testing revealed that some of their clothing contained high levels of radiation. Blunt force trauma without a scratch, missing facial features, and radioactive fibers. Investigators are left with a collection of evidence that points in different, conflicting directions. The most prominent natural explanation is a sudden, localized avalanche. A slide of snow hitting the tent would explain why the group felt they had to cut their way out immediately. The weight of thousands of pounds of snow could also account for the massive internal pressure required to shatter ribs and skulls. But the tracks tell a different story. Footprints show the hikers walked away calmly and in order. An avalanche fails to explain why bodies were scattered miles apart, or why specific victims suffered lost soft tissue and radioactive contamination. While a slide explains fractures, it offers no mechanism for radiation or missing facial features. The theory completely fails because it cannot provide a single, unified cause for all the evidence found at the site. The height of the Cold War suggests a more clandestine cause. The hikers may have wandered into a secret Soviet weapons testing zone. A concussive blast from an exotic weapon could exert enough atmospheric pressure to crush a human frame internally without ever breaking the skin. The threat of an imminent explosion would provide a clear reason for experienced hikers to abandon their tent and gear in a desperate attempt to move away from a target zone. If they were victims of a military mishap, the logic of a cover-up is missing. There is no clear reason why military personnel would scatter bodies across miles of terrain instead of simply removing the evidence. A military test explains the trauma and the radiation, but it fails to clarify the bizarre behavioral patterns and the specific selective mutilation of the victims. Because no single scientific theory fits the facts, the case has become a magnet for fringe ideas, ranging from alien encounters to unidentified creatures. These theories persist because we struggle to name a force powerful enough to override every survival instinct these hikers possessed. When forensic logic fails spectacularly, the mind often reaches for the supernatural to bridge the gap. After more than 6 decades, every explanation, from the natural to the man-made, remains incomplete. In an era defined by advanced forensic science, the Dyatlov Pass Incident remains a reminder of our limits. The mountains have kept the secret of what happened that night buried in the snow. 9 experts went into the Urals. None returned, and they left behind a puzzle that no amount of logic has been able to solve. What combination of events do you think explains these contradictions? Let me know in the comments, and subscribe for more deep dives into the world's most enduring mysteries.